calaveras, also known as sugar skulls. Sugar skulls are made during a holiday known as Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. Before we get started, it's important that we know a little more about this holiday and the meaning of the skulls. Dia de los Muertos is a festival celebrating death, specifically those loved ones that have died. It is celebrated in both Mexico as well as in cities around the United States with large Mexican populations, such as Los Angeles. Celebrations begin on the evening of October 31st, with the main festivities occurring on November 1st and 2nd. November 1st honors children that have died, known as angelitos, or little angels, and November 2nd honors adults. Though it deals with death, Dia de los Muertos is meant to be a happy celebration, as Mexican culture views death as a natural part of life. It is believed that the spirits of loved ones that have passed on come back during this time to visit with their still living friends and family. As part of the celebrations, families will visit and decorate the grave sites of their loved ones and tell stories about them. They will also set up altars to welcome home the spirits of their loved ones, hold parades, and have a feast. Dia de los Muertos evolved out of the Aztec civilization in Mexico. Aztecs held month-long celebration to honor the dead and celebrate death as a part of the cycle of life. After the Spanish invaded the Aztecs, they tried to get rid of the celebration in favor of their own religion, Christianity, but the Aztecs held on to their beliefs. The beliefs of the Aztecs ultimately merged with those of the Spanish, leading to the creation of Dia de los Muertos. You will see a lot of skeletons and skulls in Dia de los Muertos celebrations. These skeletons, or calacas, are part of the celebration of death. They are dressed in clothes and pose just like a living person. They are meant to be funny and a way of laughing at death, rather than it being a sad thing. You will also see living people in skeleton costumes at parades and celebrations during the holiday. The use of skeletons and skulls goes back to the Aztec tradition, where skulls were a symbol of death and rebirth. In modern celebrations, families will make and decorate edible sugar skulls to place on altars, or ofrendas, as offerings for the deceased loved one upon their return during the festivities. Smaller skulls will represent children that have passed, and the larger ones will represent adults. The skulls will often have the name of a deceased loved one on them. Altars will also have candles, yellow marigolds, and objects that belong to the loved one, along with other edible treats such as pan de muerto, or bread of the dead. To get started making sugar skulls, you will need the following supplies: a mixing bowl, mixing spoon, measuring spoons, measuring cup, wax paper, toothpicks for detailing, a sugar skull mold, and cardboard. You will also need the following ingredients: 2 cups of granulated sugar, 4 teaspoons of meringue powder, 2 teaspoons of water, food coloring for making colored skulls, and royal icing. The recipe we are using today, along with the list of supplies and ingredients, and substitutes for meringue powder, will be included at the end of this video. We should note that the skulls we are making will be flat back, but you can also use the same recipe to make 3D skulls, though this will require a different mold than what we are using.
Okay, so now we're going to get started on making our sugar skulls. So first of all, we're going to add the measured ingredients to the bowl right here. So here is our 2 cups of sugar, and then we're going to add 4 teaspoons of meringue powder to this mix today, so that sugar skulls will dry faster and harder. So now that we've added the meringue powder to the sugar mix, I'm just going to mix it together. So that the meringue powder is evenly mixed into the sugar right here. So once you're satisfied that this is all mixed together, we can go ahead and add our water. So here we'll be adding only 2 teaspoons of liquid. And at this time, if you wanted to make colored skulls, you could add some food coloring to your water and then mix it in with your sugar mix here. I'm going to mix with my fingers because it's easier to mix in the ingredients together and get it rubbed into the liquid into the sugar mix. Liquid tends to fall to the bottom of the bowl, so you want to make sure that you've scooped up all that damp mix at the bottom and make sure that you've rubbed all the liquid into the sugar and meringue mix. Usually this will take around 5 minutes to get everything mixed in equally together. So, once the mixture is completely mixed in together, you should be able to pick up some of the mixture and squeeze it in your hand, and it will not fall apart or crumble. Once you've achieved this consistency, you're ready to fill your molds. So here's our mold, and you want to fill them gradually. So I'm going to start with a small amount of sugar, and I'm going to press it firmly into the mold so that you pick up the detail on the bottom of the mold there, so you get your little skull faces. So I'm going to gradually fill the mold with the sugar mix, pressing in as I go, impacting it so it sets pretty hard and solid. And I'm just going to keep going until I've filled the entire skull mold here. This mixture here will fill up all of this mold. So you'll have 9 skulls from roughly 2 cups of sugar and 4 teaspoons of meringue powder and 2 teaspoons of water. Your fingers are the best for this because you can press in real nice with your fingers. Get the mixture all impacted in there. Okay. Now we're going to take our wax paper. We're going to place it on top of this mold here, and then we're going to take a piece of cardboard cut approximately the same size as your mold right here. So now we're ready to flip this over. Before you do that, you want to make sure that you have a firm grip on the mold and the cardboard paper, the cardboard here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip the mold over. So here we are. So now the mold is flipped. We can gently remove the mold, and here we have our molded sugar skulls. Now they need to be left alone for up to 12 to 24 hours so that they can thoroughly dry and be ready to decorate. Larger skulls will probably take around 24 hours. These skulls will take around 12, and it also depends on the environment. If you live in a humid environment, the skulls may not set quickly or may not set at all. The sugar skulls prefer a dry, warm environment, which helps them set faster. So it's a good idea to maybe make sugar skulls in a warmer weather or in a kitchen where it's a lot warmer also. So now we just have to wait for these guys to dry. Once your sugar skulls are dry, they'll be pretty hard, pretty solid, and easy to decorate. So I will take one of the skulls right here, and today we are using pre-made royal icing, which just comes straight out of the bottle. So it's super easy just to use a straight the bottle, and if you need to, you can take a toothpick and add some details also to your skulls. And if you want to be super artistic, you can also create your own royal icing mixture with royal icing mixture and food coloring, and use a piping bag and piping tools to have more intricate designs. And so once you've completely decorated your skull, you leave them to dry for maybe up to 4 hours, and the result should be these lovely colorful little skulls. And once they're dry, they're ready to place on your altar or give away as gifts. So that's it, folks. Thank you for joining us for Sugar Skull Craft.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you had fun making sugar skulls and learning more about Dia de los Muertos.
Goodbye.